Hello, and welcome to 18th Century Jazz Club. Nice. Okay, I know it doesn't make any sense. I mean, jazz and the 18th century, I can't quite see a link. Incongruous. But in 2008, the Chris Hodgkin's Quartet created their very own concept album about Boswell's London Journal. Now, this journal was written by Boswell when he first came to London as a very young man. He wrote it in between 1762 and 63. And I don't like it very much. It was first published in 1950. It was discovered with a whole bunch of other Boswell papers. And it's private. It's very, very private. I mean, Boswell in this book talks about his gonorrhea. He talks about when he dressed up as a sort of a commoner and used that excuse to go around treating people horrible. He talks about his depression. He talks about his slimy, graspy, celebrity snatching thing. I quite liked Boswell before I read his London Journal. Slimy. But that's by the by. I mean, what kind of jazz album could you make out of it? Now, I don't know a lot about jazz, but I've looked up Chris Hodgkin's, and he seems to be a very, very big figure in jazz. He seems to be certainly one of the main Welsh jazz people, as far as I can tell. Welsh. All of his quartet, likewise, have played with all sorts of names I've heard of, including Ronnie Scott. Now, I don't know a lot about jazz, but I thought 18th century jazz, well, 18th century inspired jazz. Let's try it out. Excuse me a minute. Okay. I can see why this doesn't quite work. Take a listen to the Chris Hodgkin's Quartet version, their interpretation of what it's like to ride in a fast stagecoach through the countryside. Yeah. Okay, right. What about their interpretation of Boswell's deep despair, the black dog that haunted him throughout his life? What about their version of the character of Wilkes, the slightly mad, ugly politician, Wilkes in Liberty? His meeting with Johnson, that very famous meeting where he was really nervous and Johnson essentially took the piss out of him. Okay, right. Louisa. Track called Louisa. So Louisa was his summer fling, his summer loving, and she gave him gonorrhea. What about her? Finally, the track I was most looking forward to, track number 12, it's called Turk's Head Conversation. I mean, it actually has nothing to do with Boswell's London Journal because the Turk's Head Club wasn't really in place then. But anyway, it is the musical representation of Samuel Johnson at his grandstanding best, lecturing to all the different people and all the different conversations, Powley and Burke and Goldsmith and Boswell himself and good old Reynolds listening on, and yeah, let's hear what that sounds like. It all sounds the same. And none of it sounds as it should. I mean, it would appear that jazz, this form of jazz anyway, only really has the ability to go twiddle-iddle, iddle-iddle, twaddle-oddle, oddle-oddle, twaddle, twiddle, twaddle, twaddle-oddle, ooba-dooba-doo. It just doesn't convey. I mean, I wasn't expecting it to convey the time period, but I was expecting it to convey the emotion. I mean, Turk's Head. I mean, that should be loads of things jabbering over each other, with the trumpet being Johnson getting over everybody else. Or Melancholy, that should sound kind of sad. Or The Machine, it's called, rushing through, what is heaven, said Johnson? Well, it's riding in a fast carriage with a beautiful woman. It should sound like that. It's all just twiddle, twaddle, faffle, fiffle. I'm sorry, Chris Hodgkins and your quartet. But it's a no from me. Out of date reference. Now, I like playing around with cameras. I'm not sure I'm that good at it, but I'm going to give it a go anyway. And from now until whenever, I'm going to have a look mainly at visual representations of the 18th century, some of their novels and things about them that have been on the big and silver screen. So, look for that in the future. Thanks.